That said, though, you both called for the passage of the HEROES Act. It doesn't seem like there's any more of a path to get to 60 votes in the Senate to get closer there. And by that same score here, it seems as though in the House, your position on the larger bill, you would have a weaker hand to play in the lame duck Congress. If that's not the case, tell me why it's not.
Well, I think that the most compelling argument of what I said earlier, 144,000 people yesterday. And these people are spread all over the country. The pressure on hospitals all over the country, including in rural areas. So if the Republicans want to be cold-hearted and say they don't care, or as the president's son said, 225,000, I think at that time, that's no big number kind of thing. No, every single one of those deaths is important to us. We carry those people in our hearts. And they should be carrying them on their conscience for what they did not do. Since we passed the bill, the HEROES Act, over 100,000 more people have died. That could have been prevented. So, again, you've heard me say it a million times, Chad, public sentiment is everything. And now that the people have expressed their views, Joe Biden has won. Kamala Harris will be the first woman vice president of the United States. So I said to them, if we didn't have masks last week, they could see us beaming with that success. What they have been proposing is very similar to what we have in the HEROES Act. And we just have to fight to make sure that if the Republicans decide that they don't care about the health and well-being, about Medicaid and what it means to people in their lives, that the public will know.
And I would just say one more thing, Chad, one more thing. First, McConnell is sticking to his emaciated bill, which he's tried twice and didn't get a Republican vote. That's sort of a non-starter. And then he said, because we have a vaccine, there's even less need for a bill. Vaccine makes greater need for a bill because it has to be distributed fairly and equitably, and there needs to be education that it's healthy and everything else. Second, the biggest change since Election Day is that Donald Trump, who was not for helping us in COVID and who was against the HEROES bill, has lost. That was an overwhelming referendum by the American people. So yes, we think there has been change. It should move things in our direction. We're willing to sit down and talk. They haven't wanted to talk. They seem to have stuck to their position.
You don't say that what Joe Biden got in this election was a mandate to address the challenges that our country faces, as well as to have a positive initiative on how to grow the economy in a fair way. And in order to do that, we must address the COVID, the pandemic.
This election was maybe more a referendum on who can handle COVID well than anything else. The Donald Trump approach was repudiated. The Joe Biden approach was embraced. And that's why we think there's a better chance to get a bill in the lame duck. If only the Republicans would stop embracing the ridiculous shenanigans that Trump is forcing them to do, that this, in the election, and focus on what people need.
What about Republicans? Speaker Pelosi, in 2000, Democrat Al Gore was allowed to press his legal challenge against George W. Bush in Florida for 37 days. Do you think the same type of patience should be afforded to President Trump in his legal challenges?
Let me in fact say what Dick Cheney said at the time. In 2000, the delayed ascertainment caused many difficulties. The Bush administration was outspoken about about what was happening in the country. And as the leader said, this is a completely different situation. We're talking about one state. VP Dick Cheney said on November 27th, we will pay a heavy price for delays in planning and assembly of the next administration. And I don't think this, the Biden having been the Vice President of the United States, the Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, he knows the territory. So he's going to be just fine in the transition. He's going to be just fine in the transition. It's most unfortunate that the Republicans have decided that they will not respect the will of the people. And let me just say, it's like the house is burning down and they just refuse to throw water on it. But we are on a path now, the vaccines, which were coming out of the private sector, actually the Pfizer vaccine coming out of the private sector, show great promise. And that promise is to say all the more reason to wear a mask, self-isolate, quarantine, and let us work together to get this done. I can't, this is like a gift from God to come down and help cure this pandemic. Not cure, just prevent it from being spread, and with a vaccine to inoculate against it. And as we inoculate against against the virus, we also should be inoculating against all the injustices that are contained in how it is being spread and the rest. Thank you all very much. Thank you.